Good morning and Jai Hind children. I welcome you all in today's live class of chemistry. Children, in previous class, I have explained you that how to separate a solid from a solution. Is it? And a method for this separation we have explained in that previous class, and that method was evaporation. Is it, children? Understood? So I hope that you understood that topic which I have explained in previous class. Now today I will discuss the another method of separating a solid from a solution, and that method is crystallization. Okay children, so what that this method is? This method is crystallization. Children, for crystallization method, we are going to explain it with the help of a small example, a simple example. Like, just take some sugar grains in a plate, okay, and look at the grains of sugar through a magnifying lens. So, what you will see? Yes, you will see that all the sugar grains have the same basic shape. That is, shape of a cube. Is it? So, these cubic structures of sugar are called the crystals. What these structures are called? It is called crystals. Okay? And in a crystals, atoms or molecules are arranged in a regular pattern. Get it, children? So must remember that in a crystal, how the atoms or molecules are arranged? They are arranged in regular pattern. Okay, and you can obtain the crystals of common substances such as salt or alum from a solution of these substances in water. And how you can obtain this? Simply by the process which is called crystallization. Okay, so the crystals of different substances have the different shapes. Okay, like the crystal of sugar have which shape? It have the cubic shape. Get it, children? So, what is the crystallization process? It is simply a process by which we are going to obtain the crystals of some of the substances which are dissolved in water. Okay, like salt, like alum and all. So this method or this process to obtain these substances in the form of crystal is known as crystallization. Get it, children? Now, we have an activity in the book, that is activity number 6, and this activity is not the part of activity syllabus. So I'm going to explain this activity, children. Okay, and in this activity, we are going to explain the process of crystallization. Get it? Activity number 6. And what is the objective of this? Yes, the objective is to grow the alum crystal. To grow alum crystals. Get it, children? Children, do you know the alum? What is alum? Okay, the alum is simply a substance that looks like the salt, but the size of the crystals are bigger than the size of crystal of salt or sugar. Okay, and in Hindi it is known as fitkari. So it's a very common substance which are available in kitchens. Okay, and this alum we can obtain the crystals of this alum from the solution of alum in water. Okay, and through this activity I am going to explain the same. So for this activity, to obtain the crystals of alum, what we will do? First of all, we will need about 25 grams of alum. Okay, and it is easily available in all the grocery stores. We need the water, we need some nylon thread, we need clean cups, beakers, spoon, stick, and a piece of fine cloth. Okay children, so these are the materials that we require for this activity. Get it? What we require? We require about 25 grams of alum, some water, nylon cloths, and the cups, beaker, spoon, stick, and a piece of fine cloth. Now, the procedure is that first of all, we will heat some water in a beaker. Okay? So here, I have the beaker. Take some water and heat it on the burner. Get it children? So first of all we will heat the water in a beaker. After that we will remove the beaker from fire before the water start boiling. And as you are going to see that your water is going to start boiling, just before that take out your beaker from the fire and transfer the water in a clean cup. Okay, so this hot water we will transfer in a cup. Get it children? This much process? Okay. Now add the alum slowly to this hot water and stir. The alum which we have, slowly we will add that alum in this hot water of cup and we will stir it continuously. Get it? And keep on adding the alum to the water until no more alum can dissolve and some alum is left undissolved at the bottom. So as you are going to observe that at the time to dissolve the alum crystals here, some of the alum at last gets deposited here and they are not able to dissolve. Okay children? Now you have a saturated solution of alum in hot water. So this time this solution is known as saturated solution because now no more alum particles or alum crystals are able to dissolve in the water. Okay, most of the alums are dissolved here and now there is no, yes, dissolution of the alum crystals in the water. So this time this solution is known as saturated solution. Okay children, understood saturated solution? Saturated solution means a solution in which we cannot dissolve more, yes, solute particles like the alum here in this water, hot water. So this time this solution is known as saturated solution. Get it? Now after that, when you got the saturated solution of alum in hot water, now filter the solution using a fine cloth to remove the undissolved alum. Get it? The fine cloth which we have taken, we will keep it on another beaker and we will pour this saturated solution. So what will happen? The impurities and the undissolved crystals of alum will get filtered out from the cloth and the solution passed from the cloth and collected in this beaker. Get it children? Understood this much? Okay, now as the solution cools, it becomes a supersaturated solution. Now this time the solution is hot. Now keep it for some time so it's get cooled and that time it the solution is known as supersaturated solution. Get it, children? Saturated solution and supersaturated solution. Children, there is a difference. Saturated solution means that when no more solute particles dissolved in liquid. So that time the solution is known as saturated solution, and after heating them, if it's not possible to dissolve some more solute particle, so that time it will known as supersaturated solution. So after cooling this solution, so saturated solution, we will get the supersaturated solution. Get it? And it means simply that it has no more alum than can remain dissolved in the water. So such a solution is very unstable and will crystallize easily. Get it? This is the property of supersaturated solution, that what happened? It's very unstable and it will crystallize very easily. Get it, children? So this is our supersaturated solution. Now after that, leave this cup undisturbed overnight and let it cool. So some crystals of solid alum will form at the bottom of the cup when the solution cools down. Get it? So when we will keep our this supersaturated solution overnight, it gets completely cooled. So we will observe that at the bottom, the crystals of solid alum form here. At the bottom, some solid crystals of alum will form. Okay, now again filter the solution through the cloth and collect the filtrate. Get it, children? Once you have filtered the saturated solution, now after cooling down this supersaturated solution, again we will filter by the same cloth. Okay, and filtering, after filtering, what we will get? We will get the, yes, filtrate, that solid gets separated, and the filtrate, which is the alum water, gets separated in a beaker. Okay, now the crystals that stay behind on the cloth will be the seeds to start the formation of new crystals. After the filtration of this supersaturated solution by a cloth, the small crystals of the alum that get collected on the cloth during the filtration, they will act as a seed. Why they will act as a seed, children? Because we can form the new crystals through those small crystals. We can form the big crystals from those small crystals which are collected on the cloth. So that is why these small crystals are known as seeds. Okay, now tie a piece of nylon thread around the largest, best formed crystal. So whatever the crystals we have collected after the filtration, we will take the thread and will tie on that crystal. Okay, and tie the other end of the thread to the middle of a stick. Get it, children? How we will do? We will just simply take another beaker and a stick. Okay, and we will tie that thread here in the middle, and at the other end we have tied the crystal of alum. This is the crystal of alum and this one is the stick. Okay, get it, children? So after tying this crystal, what will do? Yes, that remember that the tying the knot on the crystal is more difficult part of this whole activity, because the size of the crystals are very small. So it is somewhat difficult to tie the knot on these crystals. Now after that, suspend this seed of crystal in the alum water. So after the filtration, the alum water or the filtrate that we have got, we will hang it Okay, in that alum water we will suspend it. So this is the alum water, and now we will suspend our crystal through the thread in this alum water. Get it, children? Okay. Now after suspending it in the alum water with the stick, what will do? Resting across the beaker, the seed should dangle in the alum water. We must have to ensure that our this seed or the small crystal must be dangled in the alum water. Now cover loosely with a cloth. This whole setup we will cover with the cloth. Okay, so no other particles, dust particles can enter in this setup. Get it? Now, look at this experiment a couple of time a day. And what will happen? What will observe? Yes, the crystals start forming in the bottom of the beaker of solution. And now remove the stick and carefully pour the alum water into another clean beaker. Okay, and do not let the crystals on the bottom get into the other clean beaker. And these crystals need to be removed as they will also act as seeds and will not let your big crystals grow. Get it? So after settling them down, we will observe the crystals of alum here at the bottom. Again, we will filter and these crystals will act as the seed. Get it? Now, after a few days, we will have a good sized crystal. And when you feel the crystal has grown enough, remove it from the jar and carefully dry it with a paper towel. So we will see that this small crystal is get bigger in size after a few days. Get it? And when we get the bigger size of crystal, we will remove it and will dry it on a paper towel. Okay, and wrap this finished crystal in a soft cloth or paper towel. And now this is a crystal of alum that we obtained from the solution of alum in water. Okay, children? Understood this activity? So, in this activity, what we have explained? We have explained that by the process of crystallization, we get the crystals of alum from the solution of the alum in water. Okay, and the method is thus simply first we will dissolve the alum in water until we not get the solution which is saturated, means no more particles of alum can dissolve. We will cool them down, and now this solution is termed as supersaturated solution. Again, when the supersaturated solution gets cooled overnight, we'll see the small crystals in the bottom. And now we will filter it with the cloth, and those small crystals will act as the seed. Okay, and we will tie one of the crystal with the thread and hang it in a stick in the same filtered alum water for few days. Okay, and our this small size of crystals get grown big in size. So this is the process known as crystallization to obtain the crystal of the soluble solid like the alum. Get it, children? Okay, I hope that you understood this activity. Okay, children, now this is the last topic of our chapter, and I hope that students understood all the topics of the chapter properly. Okay, now if you have still any doubt in any of the topic, so you can ask your question, your queries in the school group by writing the question. Get it, children? Now come to the oral question third, which is given in your book on page number 90. Oral question 3. Children, the question number 1 is the atoms or molecules of a solid are always arranged in a regular pattern. Do you agree? Give reasons. So children, please first understood the question. Okay, the atoms or molecules of a solid are always arranged in a regular pattern. This is the statement given in the question. Okay, so do you agree? If no, you have to give reason, or if yes, you have to give the reason. So, children, today I have explained that the atoms or molecules are not of all solid are arranged in a regular pattern. Okay, because only in some solids it is arranged in regular pattern, and in most of the solids their atoms or molecules are arranged in irregular pattern. Get it? So simply you can say that no, I am not agree, I do not agree, because the atoms or molecules of some solids are arranged in a regular pattern only. Like a crystal, for example, in a crystal. And most of the solids, it is arranged in irregular pattern. Get it? Now, the question number 2. You are given a solution of a solid and a liquid. So, how can you obtain the solid from it? Okay, children? So, the topic which we have explained at last. If you have a solution of a solid and liquid, so how you can obtain the solid from it? So simply you can say that by evaporating the liquid, we can obtain the solid. Okay, and the method is evaporation. So by evaporation, okay, you can obtain the solid from the given solution. Get it, children? Understood? Now, the question number 3 is, what is the process of obtaining crystals of a substance from its solution in water called? So children, again I am going to repeat the question. What is the process of obtaining crystals? You have to write the name of the process. Okay, to obtaining a crystals of a substance from its solution in water. So children, today I have explained the process, that is crystallization. Okay, so the name of the process is crystallization, by which we can obtain the crystals of a substance from its solution in water. Okay, get it? So I hope that you understood the oral questions third. Get it, children? Now, I'm going to discuss the next concept map of the chapter, okay, which is given in your book and that you need to draw in your notebook also. Okay, children? Concept map. Children, through this concept map, we can summarize the overall chapter, that whatever we have explained in the chapter, we have discussed in the chapter. Okay, so first of all, we have the main topic which we have studied here is the chemical reactions. Okay, children, the chemical reactions are what? When the different substances, say that the reactants are going to react together and forms a new product. Okay, so it is known as chemical reaction. And these chemical reactions are having certain characteristics. So we have explained in the chapter the characteristics of chemical reactions. Okay, these characteristics indicates that about the chemical reaction, and there are different types of characteristics. Different characteristics are shown in different chemical reactions, and these characteristics are: the first one, evolution of a gas. Children, this is very first characteristic of reaction. Most of the chemical reactions, the gas evolve, okay, after the reaction as the product, like hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide, etc. And as example, that when hydrogen, or simply that when water, electrolysis of water is going to occur, or simply you can say that when electricity passed from in water, it produces the two different gases, that is hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So here the gases are going to evolve, which is also the one of the characteristic feature of chemical reaction. Okay, the second characteristic feature is change of color. The color of the product gets changed from their, yes, reactant. As the reactant have the different color, but after the chemical reaction their color gets changed. So this is also one of the characteristic of chemical reaction. The third characteristic is formation of precipitate. Formation of precipitate. In most of the reactions, when the reactants react, so they form, after the reaction, they form a insoluble white color substance which get deposits at the bottom, and that is known as precipitate. Get it, children? Now the next characteristic of reaction is changes in energy. Changes in energy, and it mostly the heat energy. In some of the chemical reaction, the energy produces, and in some of the chemical reaction, energy involved. Okay, and on the basis of these two kind of reaction, on the basis of changes of energy, we can categorize the chemical reaction as endothermic and exothermic. Okay, children? So, endothermic and exothermic. Exothermic chemical reactions are those in which what happened? Heat is produced, and endothermic in which heat is involved. Okay, heat is required. Now, the next characteristic of reaction is change of state. Change of state. As the state of the substance gets changed after the reaction, as when they are used as a reactant, they might have in the gaseous state or liquid state. Okay, but after the reaction, when the product form, their state gets changed. And the example is simply, as you know that water is found in liquid state. But when the electrolysis of water occurs, so the product which formed, that is hydrogen and oxygen, their states get changed and they becomes formed in which state? Gaseous state. So hydrogen gas and oxygen gas produces after the electrolysis of water, which is in liquid state. Get it, children? So these are the different characteristics of reaction, chemical reactions, which we have explained in detail with example in the chapter. Get it? Now, the next topic which we have explained in the chapter is Types of reactions. Okay children, the second important topic which we have explained in the chapter is types of reactions. And the first type of reaction is combination reaction. In combination reaction, the two different substances or reactants, after the reaction gets combined, okay, like A and plus B, when both get reacted together, they form AB, a new product. So such a reaction is known as combination reaction. And the second kind of reaction is decomposition reaction. In decomposition reactions, what happened? Yes, the reactants get break into different components, or you can say that it get decomposed into different components. So such a chemical reaction is known as decomposition reaction. Okay children? And the third kind of reaction is single displacement. Single displacement reaction. Here the displacement of the substance occur in the reaction. Okay, but only one substance is going to displace from their position. So that is why such reaction is known as single displacement. And the another kind of reaction is double displacement. Double displacement reaction. In this reaction, the two different substances gets exchanged or get displaces from their place. Okay, after the reaction. So that is why this kind of chemical reactions are known as double displacement chemical reactions. And the next kind of chemical reaction is oxidation and reduction. Oxidation and reduction reaction. Okay children, so oxidation and reduction reactions are the reactions in which either the oxygen is going to added. Okay, so such a reaction is known as oxidation reaction. The addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, that is known as oxidation reaction. And the reduction reaction is just opposite to oxidation. It means that hydrogen is get added or oxygen is removed. Okay, so such a reaction is known as reduction reactions. So these are the different types of reactions which we have explained in the chapter. Get it, children? Okay. So I hope that you understood all the topics which we have explained today. And now in the next class, I will discuss the book exercise. Okay, children? So thank you and have a nice day, children.